Alright, so what I'm doing here is just a very quick video to show how quickly I can get a DCS A10 from a completely cold start to up and running. And I'm using a DCS A10, actually I'm using a Thrustmaster Warthog stick and throttle. So there's some switches such as the APU and the EAC and the LACD switches. Those are all on my throttle, so I'm actually not going to show those physically being flipped because I'm not having to. So any switch that I'm clicking like here or here is because I don't have those switches on my throttle. So we're going to go ahead and start now. So the battery comes on, then the inverter switch comes on. APU switch is flipped, and that was done through the throttle. So now what I'm looking for is just APU power. I'm looking for the EGT to run up and then drop back down. And you expect some gases there when combustion first starts to be an issue, but you want those to go away pretty quickly. And then you want that to run up to 100%, and as soon as it does, I want to get the generator online. As soon as the generator's on, I want to start the CDU. So, because the CDU takes the longest amount of time, thanks for that, Chris. So the generator's coming on now, CDU's right here. So it's a matter of efficiency in a lot of ways. Since I'm already here, I'll set the CMD on to semi. I won't mess with that. I'm going to test this immediately, make sure that it's at 6,000 pounds. It is. Now I'm coming over to the other side. Since I was checking fuel, now I'm going to provide fuel to the system. So that's what I'm doing now. So there's like a flow to it that kind of makes sense once you've done it a few times. Now all I'm doing is putting the left engine is coming up over the hump right now. And again, I'm doing that physically because I have a stick and throttle that will allow it. So you notice the APU, the EGT went up and the RPM decayed just slightly there as it was providing bleed air to the jet there to get it rolling. You'll also notice the stick is starting to vibrate. Like if I had moved the stick prior to that, it would just flop forward or back. But now that there's hydraulic pressure being established and you want to make sure that that's in the green, this is at 58%, and that EGT is not running away on you, which would indicate some sort of problem. This is exactly why I don't bring generator 1 online yet, the left engine generator, because if the engine had a problem and I had to shut it down, then I've got a situation here where down here on the CDU, I lose that minute or minute and a half that I've been using. As soon as that engine's stabilized and I can come over the hump with the other engine, I will do so. You can see that now. The engine start cycle has begun. APU again, EGT drops down, and it's using some grunt there to get the other motor started. So you see the other motor starting to turn normally. Again, these are all, I'm just trying to do it very quickly, so I'm actually bypassing some of the normal start procedure because I'm just trying to get the airplane up and running. This mission was actually built just specifically for us to goof around with the various systems. And so while I'm doing that, I'm going to turn these 3 on, come up to the top. What that's going to give me is it's going to say, do you want to engage a bit? The answer there is yes. So now I'm not going to touch any other controls while I'm waiting for that. And once I've got the generator online, both motors are running, and they are. And I can bring these 2 up and flip that down. And what that does is it turns the generator off, and I can actually kill the APU now. I'm just going to make it a little easier to hear. You see the RPMs decaying normally. EGT is obviously dropping off because it's not producing any gas anymore. So, let's see here. Alright, now I want the TGP on.
Pull up.
And this is running through the
altitude.
And my MFDs. So now I'm hitting load because I want to load all of these. I already have the TGP warming up, and that's because it takes a minute or 2 to do it. Once these all load, you'll see asterisks here and here. So that's what I'm looking for. And should happen any time. I'm going to go ahead and close the canopy while I'm looking here. I'm waiting for that light to go out. Those have now lit. Canopy light's out. That's good. So now I can use the TGP. And it's not timed out, but we're a minute or so ahead of where we would have been. So now it's a matter of me just turning lights out. I've got a GCAS light, so I'm going to reach over and flip up on my LACD so that it knows that I'm aware of what I want to do. My anti-skid's here. My tail, or my landing gear light is there. Okay, that we've already set. Seat's not armed. I don't want to do that till I'm out of the Tab V, because I'm parked in a Tab V right now. So I'm going to set that to takeoff. And since I've done that, now I'm running this up into normal. And I like the HUD in a night mode, just because it's easier to differentiate for me. But that's all personal choice. But the whole point is here that I can have the system up and running pretty quickly. So now I've got just a couple more lights out. I'm to show 4.0, this to show 0.8, and then this will blink INS nav ready. The nav system is ready for you to do a quick start and launch prior to this blinking. But if it doesn't blink like it is right now, then what will happen is you can't use the autopilot and you can't use pack 1 on the gun. So the gun is less accurate. So now I've got 2 switches I need to flip. One is the nav switch, which is flipped by pushing that. And you can see all my HARs and everything just reset there. This has not been caged, so I'm caging that now, or uncaged. So that's out. Now the only thing I've got left is my AC. So I'm hitting EGI, and I'm hitting the EAC button on my throttle. But it's under the throttle in, I'll show you the view here. It's under the throttle in this view. Right here, it is this button. So that's where it would be. And I'm holding down the 0 or the insert key on the keypad and then the 1. So when you hold that, it'll allow you to cycle some views and get bigger views of stuff, which is good. So now, I'm going to turn my targeting pod on. And I always go ahead and turn on my MAV EO at this point, because this takes 3 minutes. And in this mission, there's targets like very close to the field. So now all I want to do, turn on nose wheel steering, make sure that's on, and F2. I'm doing this as quickly as I can and still talking about it. I can actually do it in probably a minute less if I'm not having to talk about it. So my throttles are now tied together, and I'm just looking out the front. Now I got the throttles retarded back and the brakes are coming on. So that's the first thing I want to check, is that I've got good brakes. And you can see the nose gear light there swinging back and forth. So now that I'm out of the Tab V, so if I had to get out of the airplane, I could. I reach down here and arm this. And then, other than setting up some radio stuff, which I could have done in the time that I was talking about the other side of it, the airplane is pretty much ready to go. So total start, I'd have to look at the time on the video, but it's probably less than 5 minutes or something close to that. So that's all it is.